This week, after Matt Gaetz withdrew his name as the nominee for Attorney General because there were too many swamp creatures in D.C., so he wasn't going to be able to get confirmed by the Senate. Then Trump immediately nominated Pam Bondi, who is the former Florida Attorney General, who is going to be fantastic and, as you could expect, is causing liberal media to melt down even more.
Pam Bondi is exactly what I was saying in the last segment that we should all fear, because she's competent. We may not agree with her ideologically, but she actually knows how to do this job. So if anyone on the Democratic side or anyone who cared about liberty or justice was thinking, well, maybe Matt Gaetz will screw this up and that'll give us some time. No, Pam Bondi knows what she's doing. She knows what she's doing about immigration. Remember, Florida is one of those states that's been very aggressive about migrants and deportation and moving people to different states and everything else like that. Florida has enacted all sorts of rules and laws to curtail students and what they can do on campuses and finding legal justifications for manipulating education money. She is a dangerous and effective pick, and that's frankly worse than what we would have got with Matt Gaetz, even with the deplorable moral background that he has.
Well, just when you thought the celebration over Trump's total victory November 5th was starting to settle down, now we have another reason. And just a quick heads up, Saturday, November 23rd, tomorrow, is the last day to order Trump Claus, the custom knit sweater, and be sure to get him in time for Christmas. These pictures don't do him any justice. These are absolutely fantastic. Trump Claus is literally woven into the sweater itself. So this is not printed on like all the other shirts, and Trump Claus, the classic sweatshirt t-shirt, which I release every year, which you can still get. This is a special custom order knit sweater available in red, green, and black. But like I said, Saturday, November 23rd, the last day to get them in. So head on over to markdice.com or click the link in the description below and check them out. Now back to our future Attorney General.
Lock her up. I love that.
Talking about Hillary. Wait for it.
Stay with me.
Few in the media and in D.C. thought that Matt Gaetz had any hope of actually being confirmed, but this woman should be a shoo-in, and so now they are scared.
You know, the massive roundup and promised deportation of 10 or 11 or 12 million people.
30 million. 30 million. Get it right.
Looks like the centerpiece of the early agenda of the new Trump administration. So she would obviously be, you know, the chief lawyer in charge of that operation and defending it against everybody suing, presuming that it's done in the way they've done things in the past, which is running completely roughshod over people's civil rights and civil liberties and what the law does.
Illegal aliens have the right to start packing their bags right now and then leave in order to avoid the mass deportations. And by the way, here's Donald Trump's Deputy Chief of Staff, Stephen Miller, on the issue.
The moment that President Trump puts his hand on that Bible and takes the oath of office, as he has said, the occupation ends, Liberation Day begins. He will immediately sign executive orders, sealing the border shut, beginning the largest deportation operation in American history, finding the criminal gangs, rapists, drug dealers, and monsters that have murdered our citizens and sending them home. No one will be allowed to enter the country illegally, and ICE will be empowered in partnership with FBI, DEA, ATF, the National Guard to fully seal and secure the border with CBP and to find and identify the criminal threats that are inside this country and send them back home.
And now I would add we have the backing of Pam Bondi.
Well, I was a prosecutor. I was a homicide prosecutor for 18 years. I was Florida's first female attorney general, and I was special advisor to Donald Trump, Office of White House Counsel, but most importantly, I'm his friend.
This is her responding to Mark Cuban's comments as his October gift to us, saying that there were no strong women around Donald Trump.
And I was in that White House, and we all know he surrounded himself with a lot of brilliant women. How many women here tonight support Donald Trump?
One of CNN's legal correspondents forgot that he worked for CNN for a moment and gave an honest analysis of the nomination.
Pam Bondi is, without a question, qualified to be Attorney General. She's been a prosecutor for 20 years in Florida. For 8 of those, she was the Attorney General of the state. That's a very big, very complicated job, and that level of experience is on par with or better than most United States attorneys general that we've seen over the past 50 years or so.
And while Matt Gaetz is an attorney and has been a member of Congress for a number of years, he doesn't have the executive experience of Pam Bondi, who, like this guy pointed out, was the state attorney general in Florida for 8 years. Now, I'm hoping that Ron DeSantis appoints Matt Gaetz to fill Marco Rubio's seat, who was appointed by Trump to be his Secretary of State, who will most likely easily get confirmed. But there are some doubts about that, and Gaetz resigned from the 118th Congress and was just reelected, so he could take the oath for the next session of Congress in January, 119th Congress. But he said that he's not going to do that, so it remains to be seen what he's going to do. And by the way, the smear campaign aimed at Matt Gaetz, involving the alleged 17-year-old girl and supposed parties, stem from this guy, Joel Greenberg, who was the tax collector, you can't make this up, of Seminole County, Florida, where Matt Gaetz lives. And the two became acquaintances, maybe even friends. But it turns out that Joel Greenberg was a complete con man and dirtbag and pled guilty to numerous federal charges, including the very accusations that they're trying to pin on Matt Gaetz, because it was actually Joel Greenberg who was doing those things and admitted it. But then once they had him, then a group tried to use this case in order to extort Matt Gaetz, and he wasn't going along with it. The FBI got involved, arrested the extortionist. The Biden Justice Department, under Merrick Garland, investigated Matt Gaetz for these allegations and found no wrongdoing. Joel Greenberg was trying to get a plea deal to lessen his charges and his sentencing by claiming that Matt Gaetz was involved in the activities that he himself was involved in. And like I said, the fact that Merrick Garland didn't even charge Matt Gaetz shows that there's zero evidence he did anything wrong. And Matt Gaetz has a lot of enemies in Washington, D.C. because he is a true MAGA patriot. And he was the one who, well, orchestrated the expulsion of Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy, you may recall, because Kevin McCarthy is a swamp creature, and then later trolled him at the RNC.
Speaking. What night are you speaking? Are you speaking tonight? Or, hey, you're not. If you took that stage, you would get booed off of it. You would get booed off the stage.
Kevin McCarthy then repeated the smear against Matt Gaetz on CNN, knowing full well that it's a complete hoax and a scam and a shakedown, because he is a swamp creature and Washington, D.C. is like a House of Cards episode. And the smear against Pete Hegseth, who Trump nominated as Secretary of Defense, has been fully debunked, although it remains to be seen whether or not he will withdraw or whether he can get confirmed. It turns out that the floozy who slept with him cheated on her husband, and then when she got caught, then she accused Pete of graping her. And the old bags on The View can't help but spew lie after lie about Trump's nominees. And while ABC usually doesn't have a problem with their lies, there is a line that the network won't allow them to cross, and it looks like they're going to get sued for defamation. And so here is Sunny Hostin issuing her mandatory third legal notice, reading this statement on the air that was written by the lawyers and put in the teleprompter by the producers in order to try to avoid the network from getting sued.
I have a legal note.
You want to take this one, Joy, or are you
Matt
good?
Gaetz has long denied all allegations and has not been charged with any crime.
That's true.
Also, another legal note, Pete Hegseth's lawyer said he paid the woman in 2023 to head off the threat of a baseless lawsuit.
Oh.
He has denied any wrongdoing.
That's interesting. Pay off the witness.
This is a woman who's so crazy, she bit the hand that feeds her not once, not twice, but 3 times this week. Yes, Pam Bondi did endorse and campaign for Jeb Bush in 2016. But in her defense, Jeb was the governor of Florida. Jeb was the Republican expected favorite to win the nominee. And she was the attorney general of the state. So it kind of does make sense that she would endorse the governor of her state, who she knows personally. So I don't think we should hold this against her. The number one problem that we're facing in America is the invasion of the millions and millions of migrants. And so here's her take on them.
When you're in this country illegally and you're doing things illegally, I want to tell you, and you wind up in Polk County, Grady Judd is going to find you, the DEA is going to help them, and my statewide prosecutors are going to lock you up for as long as we can.
And we're going to enjoy it.
And speaking of jail, instead of Donald Trump going there, he's going to the White House. And he was supposed to be sentenced rather soon for the trumped-up charges, no pun intended, over the payments to Sloppy Daniels to make her go away. But the judge has canceled sentencing indefinitely, and the Trump lawyers are going to be filing for those charges to be dismissed. And I think under our new Attorney General, that's not going to be a problem. And like I said, tomorrow, Saturday, November 23rd, is the final day to order your Trump Claus custom knit sweaters and get them in time for Christmas. These are totally different than the standard Trump Claus or standard t-shirts, which are screen printing or direct-to-garment printing. These have Trump Claus woven into the sweaters themselves. So you can get them in red, green, or black. And these photos don't do them any justice. They are absolutely fantastic. But tomorrow, Saturday the 23rd, is the final day to get them, to order them, to make sure that you can get them in time for Christmas. So head on over to markdice.com or click the link in the description below and check them out.